Aw, grab bag. Sort of. Well, what we got here is mostly a pile of TimMee toys. Galaxy Laser Team figures, and by my eye, they are vintage to the late 1970s. Sorry about my lighting. I broke my lamp. I have a bad track record with lamps. I break lamps.
Ash, can you see this?
I had not had a Chewbacca in green, so I'm glad to see that. And there's another turtle I can paint, and a definitely vintage pink Space Babe for the guys to hit on, though I only noticed later that the spaceman is missing his lunchbox. Here's a side-by-side comparison with the new girl on the right and what I believe is a more recent manufacturer female on the left. The recent one is a lot waxier with a translucent look to her. The one I believe to be vintage is more opaque, has sort of a texture to its surface. The newer one feels smoother, and she doesn't seem to be as well made as the vintage piece, although I'm sure that both came out of the same mold. Whether this translucency is an attribute to look for when trying to find vintage pieces, I have no idea. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. Here's the damaged pile over here, and we'll use them in my art. Yeah, that's it to me. TimMee Toys Vietnam era GI. His M16 has suffered mishap, and he's about to bash one Mr. Victor Charlie because it jammed. The M16s always jam, but this is what we dug into it for, and it's another one of these odd, possibly resin cast and hand painted Kennedy Space Center gift shop astronauts. Has the letters KT in a circle as a maker's mark. Stamp number 410, made in Hong Kong. And here's our new guy in the center with the two I'd had previously. Couple interesting things about him. His face paint is obviously a different color than the other two. He's also somewhat more squat than his compatriot. Appears to have been made from the same mold. He's just got slightly different proportions. My comment about them is that they look like Byzantine icons from like Byzantine art. Here's a 6th century mosaic, and you can see they have the same shapes around their heads. Religious icons with their helmets like that. The new one has a similar, you see, that looks like resin. The maker on these remains unknown. 410. Isn't this exciting? 410. See, I was wondering if each set was uniquely numbered, and this demonstrates that they're not. Number 409. Yeah, that's a 410. Bought the whole lot just so I could paint this guy. And I got it for peanuts. I do want to paint one of every favored spaceman line. But these are special. There's something unique about them, including the sculpted terrain that they're standing on. That's just an interesting idea. I've only seen them in the two poses. I've always wondered why that was, too, since Apollo was 3-man crews. Then again, only 2 went down to the surface. So if the purpose of the toys was to help commemorate the moon landings, it makes sense to only have the 2 guys that went down to the moon. Though I think they lost an opportunity there by not having a Michael Collins lying back in his cushioned seat like he's in a manger with his Byzantine halo for like a spaceman nativity scene. And there's another art project to whip up. How about that?
Miles and miles and miles